Well, I think I might just nod during this one.
You can't nod. It's an audio. It's an audio.
Okay. You're the local boys. You've got all the knowledge. I'm just going to go, yeah.
Join David and Ross as they become discombobulated in Dorset. From pixies to poltergeists, witches to woodrows, hear them explore the legends, folklore, and outright weirdness of their own county. This is Dark Dorset, the podcast of Weird Dorset.
I'm Ross and I'm in Dorchester.
No, he's not. I'm Ross and I'm in Dorchester. I'm Ross and I'm in
Ross
Dorchester.
and so's my wife.
I'm Dorchester and I'm in Ross.
Oh. I'm Ross and I'm in Dorchester. No, what? That's not what I'm saying. That's not how I say it. I'm Ross in Dorchester.
I'm David in Wareham.
I'm not Ross. I'm Henry and I'm in West Stafford.
Hey, so welcome Henry. Henry's our special guest. So you've heard Henry on every episode of Dark Dorset, but he's just been a recorded Henry. He's the intro and outro.
He makes the crow noises, doesn't he?
Yeah, and but he's a good friend of ours, so we thought we'd have him along. And yeah, we're going to try a threesome for the first time. Well,
right.
Not necessarily for the first time, but.
Oh, it's thanks, Ross. It's nice to be formally accepted as one of your friends as well.
Yeah, well,
Lovely.
I was saying
That's
to David,
very kind of you.
You do get a membership card to Ross's quite elite friendship gang.
Is there a cooling off period as well?
Yeah,
it's a bit like signing up for the AA.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with me calling you a friend then?
Yeah, as long as you stay sort of as an
Away.
internet friend, and we don't get too close, and you don't start encroaching on those benefits.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Great.
Right. So, friend, we all went off to MAdien Castle the other day. As
a friendship group.
As a friendship group, yeah. In reality,
Yeah.
it was in touching distance. And we were going to record some stuff about the location. But by the time we climbed to the top of it, Henry and David's hangovers started to kick in, and we didn't get that much. But so what we're going to do is play to you guys what we recorded, and then and try and fill in some of the gaps. So this is how long ago did we go?
I can't remember which hangover it was. It was the start of November.
Okay, so a month ago.
I haven't drunk since.
No, really?
No.
That was
horrendous.
I haven't laid down in a field since.
Are we recording this?
Yeah. Okay. I'm Ross in Dorchester.
I'm David in Dorchester.
Henry.
I'm Henry in pain.
So we are up on MAdien Castle. Hopefully it's not too windy. I've hidden the microphone inside my hat. So MAdien Castle. What is MAdien Castle? Anyone?
Well, I'm going to defer to you two because you were doing the homework. I went to the pub.
I think Henry went. So Henry is our friend. We thought we could bring him along because he's a fountain of knowledge, but unfortunately he's turned up really hungover and completely useless.
Well, I'd like to think I've still got a core knowledge of the area, but not as much.
It's just more difficult getting it out of you when all you want to do is sit down.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, I've got to sit down because a lot more things are going to come out of me if I keep walking around this hill.
So MAdien Castle is the largest hill fort in Britain and potentially the largest hill fort in Europe, depending what your definition of large is. That's as much as I could
remember
work out from Wikipedia.
That is a scientific definition, isn't it?
Scientific definition of large.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think it's sort of like we were saying. Is it height, width, the amount of people who lived there, or
we've walked from one end of the other,
leading a wee the whole time,
and we're quite tired.
Yeah, so that's large enough.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's very impressive, though. The ramparts are very large and very steep.
So we should explain what a hill fort is. So when I first brought my children up here and said we was going to MAdien Castle, they were expecting it to be like a
castle.
a Norman keep or something, and they were sorely disappointed where it's just
Oh yeah.
it's a hill, which is
Useful comment. Fair fun.
yeah. So what local beers were you drinking last night?
Oh well, hear this. So we went to the brew house for a little bit,
Yeah.
and in between, sort of
Trying to see Toby.
rugby players drinking like pineapple and lemonade. I thought, well, tomorrow is the day of doing this, and there was a very nice beer on tap called the Durnovaria.
Oh, yes.
Easy for you to say.
Durnovaria.
That's the one. Thank you, Ross. Which, of course, is the old Roman name for Dorchester, isn't it? So I thought I'll have about 4 of those. It was all right, nutty, and made my sort of tongue sort of feel a bit scratchy. But it did all the things for all the right places, if you know what I mean. It made your legs go wobbly and your brain go numb. So it was nice.
It was named Durnovaria, isn't it? Because of was it the Durnos or something? What are the people who
The local tribe, the Durn.
Durn something or others? So you come to this podcast for all the
We are rubbish.
Yeah.
We know nothing.
Yeah.
We know.
Usually I have
No,
Wikipedia up
nothing.
in front of me so I can read this stuff.
Even primary school kids know more
Yeah.
about this place than we do.
But they had a band, a brass band, because in Dorchester there's a Durnovaria brass band.
Yeah.
That was
So the local
playing
tribe had a brass band.
playing all the top hits
In the brass band.
Romans used to sing.
All I got was, I did a little bit of Googling on Safari before it happened.
Goody.
Yeah. But all I managed to sort of establish was Dorchester was named by the Romans
Yeah.
because of its loosely related to fisting.
Yeah.
A Brythonic name incorporating Durn, meaning fist,
Yeah.
loosely interpreted as a place with fist-sized pebbles. So I guess that's referring to the flints that you find in and around the chalky downs of Dorchester.
Yeah.
I can great big lumps of it.
I'm glad you said that because I had some of those words written down and I was like, I got no idea how to Bryophic? Bryophic, yeah. So yeah. So
Easy for you to say, friend.
But apart from naming Dorchester, what have the Romans ever done for us?
well,
What have the Romans? What have the Romans? What have the Romans ever done for us?
yes, so we are the centre of fisting in the southwest of England, apparently. So much that the Romans thought they had to name the whole town after the fist.
Fist-sized pebbles.
Yeah, it's a very kind of sort of obscure element to sort of name the area after, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it comes to a lot of places. We need to talk about like naming places, villages, locations. They're all very like basically named. Nobody's sat down and go, I'll tell you what, let's have 6 months of thinking what to call this place.
Yeah.
They've gone,
We need to get an agency in here, do some brainstorming.
yeah, there's a ford west of the town. We'll call it West Stafford.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like it's easy. It's basic. Even places like, especially the Saxon.
Because I got something here about Anglo-Saxon, said that the name Durnovaria persisted through the Anglo-Saxon period where it became Dorchester. Dorchester, yeah. It was a combination of 2 old English words, which is dawn and Chester, which dawn means fist again, and Chester means fortified town or Roman town.
Yeah.
So it was Dorchester, and then which was fist fortified town.
Mm.
But then over time it changed to Dorchester.
Yeah, what do you think? Because Dorchester must have had so many iterations, like all these places. Like it was there from the Celts to start with, or the Britons. Then the Romans came and did their thing, and then we got smashed up by the Saxons appeared, and then the Vikings appeared and came and did their dirty around here. Then the Normans appeared, and then there's so many iterations and languages and ways to describe and share and change things. Like it's amazing that it's ended up so close to where it began.
Yeah. But I think that just shows that if you name a town after its geographical place or features, then it's easily understood by everyone, isn't it? It's understood what you mean if you're talking about the town next to the fort or the town on the hill.
Yeah, you think descriptive places like that. Yeah, saying it's like the town west of the fort. Yes, but not. It's the town where they got the fist-sized bits of rock. You're like, well, where's that?
At Gould's in Dorchester.
Maybe there were lots of fist bits of rock. Yeah.
But did you know that Dorset was named after Dorchester rather than the way around?
I didn't, Ross.
No.
That's really interesting. Prove it.
Well, Wikipedia says Dorset derives its name from the county town of Dorchester. The Romans established a settlement in the 1st century. We haven't talked about our beers. Anyone drinking any beers tonight? No, Henry hasn't drunk anything since his hangover on the hill. So
he's not allowed. Don't think his wife will let him. I'm drinking something from Keys Brewery, which I think is... I think it's in Holland.
Oh, so really local.
Maybe
then.
Belgium. Well, yeah, Netherlands. I thought I'd go something local. Well, it was quite local because it was in the cupboard downstairs. hidden behind lots of Guinness. It's quite nice. It's spelled Kees, and it's 5.8%. So I'm only going to have 10 or so.
Steady. That's not a driving beer, David.
It's a West Coast,
go anywhere.
West Coast IPA, and it's called Out in the Fields. And I thought that was quite apt, as when we recorded this, we were out of it in the fields.
It does look a little bit like
the
Dorset landscape on the cover. I'm drinking my favourite Chesil by the Dorset Brewing Company.
Now, Chesil's a place where I reckon you'd find lots of fist-sized pebbles.
Yeah. So why wasn't Chesil called?
What?
Durn Spit or whatever. We did some research. I can remember we talked about what Portland and Chesil was, wasn't it? Because it's not an island. It was something else. But then refer to that episode because I can't remember what we learned on that one.
Oh, wow.
Did we learn anything on any episodes?
Yeah, we do, but it all goes away. So, who were how do you say this? Durotriges? Durotriges? Anyone know how to say that word?
I don't think I'd get a chance. You were going nicely. Durotriges, I would say.
I'm glad you've got your spit collector while you're trying to say it so many times at once.
He's pouring it back into the bottle.
So, Samuel, you give it a go. How would you say that word?
Can you... I haven't got a look at it.
D-U-R-O.
Durvo.
Durvo, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. It's a silent V.
Yeah. An invisible V. It's the opposite to a silent one. This one, it's not in the word, but you say it anyway. D-U-R-O, Duro, then T-R-I-G-E-S.
I reckon they were the old settlers who used to live in and around the area of Dorchester.
Yeah.
And probably moved there from further afield and established camp and went, you tell you what, these fist-sized pebbles looks like the place to me. We could carve these up into pictures of Hardy's monument and sell them at the next market.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't have to stick a fist up our ass. We can stick these fist-sized bits of rock up there instead.
Definitely. Or maybe they were casts of the old Durotriges.
Mm.
They'd grind up chalk into like a paste, stand on their heads of a full moon with a hollowed out piece of hazel as a funnel, and then tip it in, and it would go off in the cold, like plaster of Paris, and then they'd peel the body away and leave these fist-size
or
pebbles,
or bum cavity-size pebbles.
Yes. Yeah.
So every pebble you find on the ground,
I'm just reading your research
in Dorchester.
It's incredible.
Is the inside of someone's bum. Yeah.
I still can't understand that drawing you've done.
So, the Durotriges were the most prominent tribes in pre-Roman Britain, or one of them, and one of the few groups that issued their own coins before the Roman invasion in 43 AD.
Oh.
There we go. And they inhabited a large swathe of territory that was now southwestern England, encompassing modern-day Dorset, Wiltshire, Somerset, and Devon. So my sort of understanding of what sort of Roman era sort of society is like mainly comes from Asterix, and you don't imagine
I love it.
such these like big like civilizations existing, you don't really sort of imagine like a tribe that big being in existence like 2,000 years ago, do you?
No.
No.
What was Maiden Castle called before 1607?
I don't know, David. What was MAdien Castle called before 1607?
I don't know. But the earliest recorded naming of it as Maiden Castle was 1607, when it was MAdien Castle, MAYDEDUNCASTELL.
I just think people in the past couldn't spell.
Fact. And
Was it named by
Maiden is Great Hill, means Great Hill. There we are.
Okay, another very like unimaginative name for an area. So
But I reckon it could also come from Newcastle, like the Newcastle Maiden, the new one, like a bit like Maiden Newton up the road.
To bring it.
Or it could have been, because it's such a popular fly fishing venue down here, the Fly Fishers Guild could have named it after their favourite.
After the Maiden.
Yeah, the Maiden that erupts during sort of May to June, depending on if you're looking at the Gregorian calendar or not.
Which didn't exist at the time, but
maybe they were thinking about it. Maybe it was in draft.
Yeah.
It would have erupted from the South Winterbourne, that only just over the hill from Maiden.
Mm-hmm. So what is Maiden? Sorry, I'm not a fisher person.
What's Maiden? Hang on a minute. You're asking what the Romans have done. Now you're asking what the May's done. What about the Blossom?
Okay, it says here that despite the Roman conquest, the Durnotriges, I've forgotten how to say it already, left a lasting legacy of southwestern England, their cultural traditions weaving into the fabric of the region's history. Their hill fort settlements and cultural practices continue to fascinate archaeologists and historians, offering a glimpse into vibrant Celtic society that once thrived in the heart of Britain. You can tell I got AI to write this for me because they always like over.
I thought it was fascinating how it's such a massive site with these huge ramparts, and the archaeologists can pick it apart and decide how it gradually evolved and then was extended, and then they can somehow tell when it went out of use and how people drifted away and how it was kind of changed afterwards and how it's been changed through, it's 3,000 years old, isn't it? And yet the archaeologists can work out, this must have changed then. And that's when they put the gate on that end. And that's when this expanded. And then people started in like 1,000 years ago, as people drifted away from these hill forts. That's when the Romans built the temple, or the temple is like a Roman native kind of hybrid religion, apparently, with and that was the only building up there at the time, and the rest of it was just ghost land.
Yeah, but I think it's amazing how they can find that all out from just effectively dirt, because it's not like there's many buildings up there or anything. Like, because I can kind of see if they're digging and they're finding different bits of old buildings and all that kind of stuff, and that would give them an idea of what. But effectively, the Maiden Castle is a hill fort, so effectively mounds of earth which have been put into places. I know there was settlements in the middle of it and stuff. So, but it's just incredible what we've learned to be able to work out as human beings, isn't it? And
I also kind of there's the famous archaeologist who found the burial kind of pit with all the skeletons in, and said that they all died in very violent ways, so the Romans must have come in and slaughtered everyone. And now, 50 years later, they're saying, actually, there doesn't seem to be kind of that brutal, violent narrative behind it.
Ooh.
And wow. Picture of skulls.
So Henry's holding a photograph of a pile of skulls and bones.
Yeah.
Where did you find? Is that?
That's
the cemetery pit.
This is my birthday postcard from my sister.
Yeah.
I'll read you the back and then I'll read you the description.
Mm-hmm.
Happiest of birthdays to you, mon frère. Love you very much. What a lovely pit of death. Saw this and thought of you. Nice. This is the Pit of Doom. Remains of a group of 54 beheaded Vikings were discovered on the Ridgeway in 2009.
Yes, we talked about
this. Is a landscape full of incredible stories, many still to be discovered.
Wow. So that's the one on the Ridgeway when they were making the road for the Olympic Road, wasn't it? Between Dorchester and Weymouth, they found that, didn't they?
That's it. As they scratch through all the geological layers, they found these. Well, it's a collective pit of mass burial from some either ultimate sacrifice or tribal conflict.
Yeah, I think it was a group of like teenage Vikings came over, and they met up with some formidable Weymouth people who just went and stripped them naked and chopped their heads off and threw them into a pit.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, I think that was like 1987 or something.
Yeah, but look how they're all beheaded. Look, the heads they're well sorted.
Yeah,
the heads are in one pile, aren't they? And all the spare ribs are in another pile.
And also, if you think about what probably happened, is that the person who's at the end of the queue to be beheaded saw all of his mates. Imagine that. The fear on that guy just watching all of your mates being decapitated, bodies being sorted into piles, and knowing that you're the one who's going to be coming next. And they were naked, they reckon, when it was happening.
Wow.
You can go and see.
Can you tell that because there are no clothes here, Ross?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, that's what the scientists said.
Did he?
If you go to
were you in your own little room with him at the time?
Yeah, with your trousers off, warming your cockles over an oil heater.
Yeah. You can go and see those skeletons in Dorset Museum.
All of them?
In Dorchester. No, well, a couple of them on display.
The most handsome ones.
Yeah. The ones with got abscesses in their teeth which exploded and things like that.
That's a good show, actually, up the Dorchester Museum. It's good up there.
Yeah.
Not only can you dress up as Gabriel Oak, you can also go and have a ponder at the bronze sword. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they've got this big bed of nails, vertical bed of nails that you can push yourself up against and leave imprints.
Yes.
And add extra appendages.
Yes, I've done that.
And walk and snigger.
We might be allowed back in since our sketch crawl.
Yeah, they've done it up. They've done it up since then. Since we went sketch crawling.
You drew on Mary Anning, gave her a moustache.
The dinosaur was there at the time, and we were a bit unruly. Some of the people in our team.
We're a team, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Look at these collective nouns. Look, Ross is so happy. Friends, team.
Yeah, well, I'd say
ex-colleagues.
Ex-colleagues, yeah. Friends of David, I would say.
Decapitated. These are the spoils of your ex-colleagues, David.
Yeah. So, yes, some of them. I wish. My point was, though, is that they were telling one story 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changed because there was new evidence, and now they're saying that the evidence, they think that 3/4 of all burials found there had a violent death, but they don't know if they died at MAdien Castle or were brought back, and they think that there was a lot of fighting, in house amongst the people living and trying to make a living from the land there. It might have just been a very violent time to live, but that might change in another 20 years when there's different evidence.
A lot of history is about the time when the history's been written as well, because it's always a response to the stories, or the stories they're told always a response to the world which
we're living
in. Yeah, but we used to talk about it probably was a violent time to live back then. But I was wondering if most of those injuries were where people's heads have been stoved in by fist-sized bits of rock. But I need to go out and find myself, and maybe that could be a business for us. Durnovarian.
Don't say it here because other people will do it.
Yeah, because I can't remember ever digging up a fist-sized bit of rock in my back garden in Dorchester. So maybe they've all gone. They're
there. You want to go and follow the fresh plough, and they'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. We need to go and collect ourselves some Durnovarian Duros.
And you can, they're big, massive lumps of flint. But then that's what they'd have used to make their axe heads, arrowheads. They would have napped the flint down to razor blades to peel the hides off of their meals or their enemies.
Yeah,
that was the base. That was the base for a long time. That was it. And they're some of the sharper than razor blades, aren't they? Once you start napping it down, they are.
And they also found piles of stones at the entrance points to the castle.
Okay.
We talked about the gates and the entrances being very meandering. So if you were coming in or out, you were quite vulnerable. They found piles of stones at the top of the ramparts so they could hurl stones down at people they didn't like who
Mhm.
were coming in. So maybe that's where all the fist-sized pebbles went.
Up onto the top of the hill to be chucked down again.
Yeah.
The Iron Age people had a settlement up on top of this hill. Originally, it wasn't a fortification. Apparently, it was some kind of ceremonial type spot. Well, as you were saying, Henry, that it was originally they would have cut all the grass away to reveal the chalk underneath, so that it was a white.
It's a jewel in Wessex's crown.
Yeah.
You could have seen it from Iron Age
We are quite high up.
satellites.
The view, are we at the south end? The east end of the fort?
We're in the
Just
southeast.
Southeast, just hunkering down in the ramparts, get out the wind. But I can see for miles.
Yeah, so you would have been able to see this from a long way away. They said that the original earthwork was not. It had like gaps so you could get in and out of it quite easily. So it wasn't a defensive place, but they reckon it was just a place where people would have come along for some unknown reason. So therefore, some kind of ceremony. So when they would have dug the ditches around it to make it so that people wouldn't really, it would be hard for people to invade. They said at that point, like you were saying, Henry, about that's when metal became.
I think Henry's asleep.
Is he?
No, it's like a bedtime story. This.
Yeah.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah. So when it was a case of people were making things of metal and trading the things of metal, that it wasn't such an important thing to have like with your farmland. So then people would have come together up here, and you said it was like a trading area, wasn't it?
Yeah, they used to trade the bronze, all the livestock.
Panini World Cup stickers.
Yeah. All sorts. So yeah, it was like a congregation. It was a place to meet, trade, and probably do other things.
So apparently there was lots of different hill forts around this area originally, and then some of the smaller ones sort of dissipated, and then this one just got bigger. So it was there was like two large areas which joined to one. Now that is why this is such a big spot now.
But there's other hill forts not too far away from here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Should we try and guess a few?
Poundbury,
Oh, nice. Yes.
Banbury Rings.
Egerton Hill.
Oh,
Egerton Hill.
Egerton.
I don't know any others.
There's Dogbury, which is out sort of like near Sir Nabas Minter Magna way.
Oh, Knowlton, which has got the church in it, which we've been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bit further away, isn't it?
Wimble.
But then there's all the bumps and burial grounds all along the ridgeway here from here
Bingham, which we've been to before on our second episode.
Have you been there?
Yeah,
Oh, was it nice?
We
was
heard
good.
the fairies,
Well-
but then we
forgot them.
forgot them because they put a spell on us.
Yeah.
So we think we
Oh,
heard
that's
the fairies.
unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you've documented you hearing the fairies.
Well, no, because they would have wiped the tape as well.
You get everywhere, don't you?
Yeah.
Is there no fairy firewall?
Yeah, so
There's one in Dorchester as well, isn't there?
What, a fairy firewall?
No. There's a circly thing where we went to
Oh,
that.
yes, that's Poundbury, isn't it?
Oh, that's what you're...
But then there's the fountains at Brewery Square, which is like a modern day.
there's a modern one up Poundbury which has got like
What's that?
solstice spots.
There's another Roman there, look.
There's a black dog.
Oh, that's a wild black
Fucking hell.
cat.
Oh, no, I thought it was a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Oh, my eyes are just a bit fuzzy.
Okay, so why were there so many hill forts in this area? The internet has given me 6 reasons why there was lots of hill forts in this area.
This is like, I've done my homework.
I have done my homework. It's really easy to do your homework now there's AI.
That's why I don't do it,
Yeah.
because you can do it.
So, just strategic geography. West Dorset's topography is categorised by the rolling hills and predominant landfalls provided ideal location for hill forts. So the hill forts
Yeah,
there.
you can't have hill forts in Norfolk, can you?
No.
The hill forts are there because we've got hills.
Yeah. So the hills came for what came first, the hills or the hill forts? The hills. Fertile land, rich agriculture provided ample resources for the communities that constructed and occupied the hill forts.
But then I think that a lot of Dorset around where we all live is very prone to flooding, isn't it? And the rivers and the floodplains. So actually you're much safer on one of these hills.
Mm-hmm. But also the flooding makes it fertile, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Rich, nutrient-rich water bubbling up from the aquifer and the chalk streams. Yeah.
Trade networks. West Dorset proximity to the coast and major river systems facilitated trade and exchange with neighbouring regions. the hill forts may have played a role in controlling trade routes and managing the flow of goods. But I think you was talking about that up on the hill, Henry, about saying how these were like centres for trade.
Yeah, well, think of it. I mean, a lot of these guys were it's on the route to Exeter, in between there, on the ridgeways. You know, they're good places to see, coal marks, landmarks, people to get to trade to. They can see the gleaming white walls of MAdien Castle from far afield to come and bring their goats or children to trade for flour and bone necklaces.
There was some talk about MAdien Castle being part fortification but part showing off.
Yeah, because Henry was saying that it didn't all have grass on it when it was freshly dug out, so it would have been like gleaming white when you could see the chalk through it. So it would have the same way like the pyramids didn't look like they were all covered in white stone, weren't they, when they originally were built, and they've had all that stripped off.
Just remember though, Ross, we all were pretty half-baked that day, so we could have said like we could have just been waxing lyrical to keep the time going. Yes.
Yeah. It also says that social complexity, Iron Age was when they were constructed, and there was a period of increased social complexity in Britain. Development of hill forts suggested an emergence of more organised communities and the need for defensive measures.
Yeah, well, that was it. The Romans were starting to come along. Wherever they targeted that as a place as a strategic location for either to put a garrison there. I mean, think about it; it's a good spot, right at the top of the Froome. To get up, march through. The Romans would have been marching in these valley bottoms rather than up on the top of the hill. So a good place to fortify and have a place to crash. Also very close to Weymouth, good seaport for getting here, there, and everywhere around and about.
And Wareham, just up the river.
And the aquarium.
That's it. Yeah, the aquarium and the Condor ferry. Yeah.
And they got the pavilion for like panto season and stuff.
Oh no, they don't.
Chinese restaurant. I used to really love panto, but now it's behind me.
It's a bit like, I used to be really indecisive, but now I just can't make up my mind.
Apparently there's lots of UFOs seen up here. I got a picture
Now we're talking.
of a crop circle which appeared near here. But I can't show you because it's on the phone which I'm recording this on.
What does it look like? Can you describe it in words?
Circular with
Aliens, what's here?
yeah, with other circles inside. But people are saying, well, what is it about this area which means all these crop circles appear near here? And I think it's because when you've done it, you can come up on top of the hill and take a photograph of it.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely, yeah, that's what it said.
Because UFOs are only, once they're identified, they're just FOs, aren't they?
Flying objects.
Yeah.
Is that right? That's the acronym, isn't it, David?
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
And then when they start flying, they're just objects.
But so I've had some tales of some pals seeing some interesting unidentifiable flying objects. Definitely FOs.
Yeah.
With a question mark over the
Yeah.
My pal, bless you. Hang on, just wipe your screen a minute, Ross. Pal of mine lives at Cosmore, out Buckland Newton way on the Sherborne Road, not a million miles from you. Cosmore,
All right.
not the Cosmos.
Yeah.
And so out with his lads when they were younger, just sort of lying out in the field and watching the world go by, seeing the stars, not much light blue, but seeing all these strange things flying around. Like no flashing light, just this dark object coming over. And they were like, it's a flipping UFO, freaking right out.
Yeah.
Then they were realising, well, we're very close to Yeovilton Air Base, and they might have been practicing flying that, what was that really cool, the black guy.
The Blackbird?
Is it the Blackbird? No, that is an aeroplane, isn't it? No, it was like a
F-17 or something like that?
It looked a bit like a boomerang.
Uh-huh.
With it was able to pick wasn't able to be picked up by radar because of its sort of angled size. But they apparently used to test those out and fly those around 20 years ago, around from Newton Air Base. And that's kind of what we thought. So it turned from an incredible UFO to a boring FO.
Well, still, maybe the SR-71. That was one, which is a Wikipedia.
Are you looking at your ethics models in the corner of the room?
I'd read there was lots of reports of UFOs over MAdien Castle, but I couldn't find. So that's why we was talking about it. But when you actually looked for them, I hardly found any. But I found one of a recent sighting of a UFO between Dorchester and Weymouth, above the A35. So that this guy, who's Mr. Kingston, is a retired intelligence officer from the RAF. Originally moved to Dorchester in 1981 and took an interest in local UFO sightings, some of which were reported directly to police officers and a vicar. But again, they don't go into much detail about these 40 different sightings. Yeah.
He cited a vicar?
No, been reported to the vicar. So that again, this has been...
absolutely, yeah.
So apparently there's some giant fireball, which someone saw moving slowly from Weymouth to Dorchester.
So Ian consulted the vicar just to make sure, this is pretty Old Testament shit going down here, vicar. But what are we going to do? So where comes the locusts?
But
maybe they were all flying out of the nuclear bunker that's under there.
Well, we'll come to that in a moment. So I'm going to show you the crop circle, which came up near MAdien Castle. So that's the crop circle. Pretty cool.
You can see where the blokes walked out of the crop circle, to crush it down. With his
this is great
box.
Podcast material.
Yeah, so this is on mrgyro.co.uk. It's I would say it's several circles with smaller circles within it. No access allowed by the farmer, but as I was saying, that one of the reasons they might have done this, you can see MAdien Castle on that picture there.
Look at that,
really close to it. It's where we saw
where the starlings.
Yeah, we saw the murmuring of starlings, didn't we, off there? So, but I do some research on this. If you read this article, big advert for trainers. So they were doing some analysis, and they were saying that maybe the circles inside were representing different planets in the solar system. But then, they go on, they said, well, maybe they're referring to different parts on a rotary dial telephone, and there's a lot of explanation about like how this could be some sort of code. Talking about like dialing backwards and forwards, and then that could turn into Morse code. This goes into so much detail. But then they was working out, well, if this is some kind of instructions for doing Morse code, it actually spells out CALL.
Call.
Yeah. Call. And then I think it was like 4 to MEET. ET. So call G to so 911 call GQ to meet ET. That's what they reckon it's saying, if it's some kind of code. But it sounds like a load of bullshit to me. But there we go. Have you ever seen a crop circle in real life?
No.
Henry looks like he's going to say yes.
I think Henry's made some in real life.
I seen one.
Yeah.
I've seen one. Sixpenny Hanley.
Yeah.
On the way to Salisbury from Blandford, on the right hand side, every year it appears.
The same.
Different. So the UFO must change his chassis every year when it lands. But I don't think
maybe he keeps changing his phone number.
Yeah. No one's getting the message.
It's quite beautiful. It was very well created from our friends from the far and distant universes.
Yeah. Does it appear on the same date every year?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not that intimate with its appearances, David, but I'm sure somebody is.
So is Henry trying not to reveal that he's the crop circle creator? He couldn't possibly say.
I'm not as neat. Out of anybody,
Yeah.
It could be David. I reckon he'd lino prints that from a massive stamp.
That one you just showed us, Ross,
Yeah.
was not very neat on the inside.
No.
It had like a rim, didn't it, and an inner rim.
Mm.
And within those two circular strokes, there was some pattern inlay,
Mm-hmm.
and that was wobbly, as if someone had made a mistake and tried to cover it up with the other rim.
Yeah.
Or whether they tried to follow it, but they were doing it freehand.
Well, they've had too much scrumpy by that point, and we're just getting a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
Or the UFO had a flat tyre when it landed.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite near the rugby club, isn't it? So that'd be my best guess.
It's a lot of fucking work, though, isn't it? For some of those big things, you would need, I think you need several hours.
Well, I think the local landowners always try to diversify down there. And now he did a maze, and so probably a few years after that's the field where they do the maze.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's more accessible. You turn a golden coin from that one, and sell a few, precast internal anus.
Bum pebbles.
Chalky, bum pebble. And now it's sunflowers, which is it's a crop circle, but you just follow it around. So maybe that was stop doing that because that's just a waste of money. Crushing 1/4 acre of corn.
Yeah.
Let's just plant some sunflowers, then go crazy with the strimmer. Make as many paths as you like, mate.
There's also a nuclear bunker underneath here.
I know. Nuclear bunker.
How did they get permission to make a bunker under such a historic site?
Monument.
Yeah, don't know. It's World War II. But, if you go on, there's an Urban Explorer website which shows where someone came up here when it was open, and they went there. And there's like all the different rooms and beds and like an infirmary and stuff in there. But it looks like somebody got in there and smashed it all up a bit. Oh. It's now been welded shut, so on the way back we can try and find the entrance to that.
When we were on the hill, you were telling us about the bunker that was beneath us.
Yes.
And when we found that little kind of bit of stone, you said, that must be the entrance to the bunker.
Yes.
So how do you feel now, Ross?
I feel a complete idiot. The bunker wasn't even at that hill fort. There's another hill fort just over the way called Poundbury, and the bunker's in Poundbury, which is what's ROC stand for?
Ross, that's call ET, isn't it? Is that? Have you got that code from a crop circle?
No, it's let's have a look at this. Okay, so this is on this website, the urbanexplorer.co.uk. He went to the other hill fort, not the one we went to, at Poundbury, and he found the Dorchester Royal Observer Corps monitoring post, which is a secret underground bunker, which has got from the Cold War. It's got like a fire blanket, a monitoring station, telephones, and all this kind of stuff left over from back when we was expecting.
That looks like a train ticket.
Oh yeah, what's there something about a Yeovil on there? Look. Yeah. Basically, it was just
So it's an old bunker from the last World War.
Yeah,
or since then.
Yeah, which is
like But you thought it was on the hill fort we were on.
Yeah, but it's a different one. So, if you've just heard me talking about a bunker at Maidien Castle, it's not there. Ignore me.
We all believed you as well, Ross. You had us.
Yeah, I
think that's probably when we stopped listening to you.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about is the is the Roman temple.
There's also a Roman temple up here, which they found a hoard of gold coins underneath the mosaic on the floor. So after the Romans turned up, we were saying that this place pretty much became abandoned.
Well, I think they tightened their grasp of society round the neck, didn't they? As Romans did. They turned up, slaughtered everybody.
All right,
and then put
that's controversial.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Sandals to the throat of the Iron Age settlers.
So that's a lot of people believe that.
Oh. No, show me up here. Ross.
No, but only some.
All right, mate. This isn't top trumps.
From my reading, because there's this there's supposedly a war cemetery up here of where they had a big battle.
It's just up there.
But there's only about 12 people in it who show any sign of death by violence.
Well,
so they don't. Oh, they were just saying.
And there are men and women in the grave.
Yeah,
and some with grave goods and buried quite.
So maybe they were. We were talking about this. It's such a massive hill fort up here. You'd have to have loads and legions of Romans. Many Romans. So, but how could you storm the fortification? Because it's so well protected, really, isn't it?
There's
massive
lots
rampart.
the ramparts are very impressive.
Yeah,
very steep, very tall, but several rings.
So maybe they did besiege them, and then in the end they said, "All right, we've eaten all of our sheep and stuff. Do your worst. We'll be your friends, Romans."
Or they just turned up and actually traded with them, because one of the things I've been
Ross!
reading.
Wow, yes! Look at this. That's a happier ending, isn't it?
So what I've been reading, they're just saying that the Romans, particularly this far out, because Britain wasn't it was quite on the edge of their kind of exploration. They didn't really bother having any kind of big military campaigns over here because it was too far away. There wasn't much worthwhile up here. Yeah. So they just it was very much integrate themselves with the local people. So they're saying Dorchester was a big Roman place, but they haven't found any forum or anything like that around there, which would have been if it was a something.
Centre.
Yeah. So they think it was just a case of them more just integrating with them.
Occupied
and trading. And we was talking about, we went to Binkham Woods where there's a Roman road, but they were saying that was a display road. So they built it high on top of the hill so that
they could be seen marching to and fro.
Just to
down to Exeter.
Yeah, to show a little bit of
presence.
Yeah, rather than, but there was no kind of like no roads built for military purposes or anything.
But then, what about, because there's a good old Roman road in between here and Egerton, isn't there? That old Roman road, bang straight.
Is there?
Yeah. And then that must have been on the hop, skip and a jump down to Exeter.
Yeah. The temple was built during a period of increased religious activity in Britain. The Romans had introduced their own gods and goddesses to the island, and many Britons adopted these new deities. And the temple at MAdien Castle was likely dedicated to one of these Roman Celtic gods, but it's not known for sure which one. So again, a little bit of a historian just making some shit up. The temple is rectangular build and it measures 6 meters by 6 meters. And it's made of coarse rubble, which is a type of masonry constructed from irregular blocks of stone, maybe fist-sized bits of stone, potentially.
They certainly were fist-sized, but they were beautifully straight on the inside and out, weren't they?
Yes. The temple has a central cellar, which is a small inner room that was used to house the temple's cult statue. The cellar is surrounded by a ambulatory, which is a passageway that allows pilgrims to walk around the statue. And that's what I was saying to you guys, that they probably had little like viewing holes so people could see sort of like waist height.
No, yeah. I'm not falling for that again.
Yeah.
Look in that hole, David.
Yeah. Not quite what the butler saw, was it?
No.
Poked you in the eye. And do you think there was just a statue? Because you were conspiracizing that there may well have been real life people with
virgins. Yes, you told us they were virgins.
I think that was another documentary or film I was watching.
But then, but as we know, there's not many virgins in Durnovaria in that time of the world. But you thought they were hired virgins, didn't you?
What's this? I can't remember this fantasy.
You definitely said that. You said they hired virgins to stand there so people could peer through the holes.
This is I've got audio evidence. I didn't say any of this.
You've got audio evidence. You listened back to it.
You turn up. You had your yellow gloves over the microphone while you were talking about this.
Must have.
You definitely talked about, and it was the best thing I've ever heard you say because you were really into it, and we really believed you.
Yeah.
Even more so, not quite as much as we believed. Yeah, not quite as much as we believed you about the bunker.
Yeah,
the bunker.
So don't let us down on this one, Ross.
Was I really enthusiastic about it? Was there lots of diagrams and like paintings?
I think you're more enthusiastic than we were.
Yeah, you were very believable.
Apparently, the temple was surrounded by a courtyard that measured 15 meters, and was originally surrounded by a colonnade, which is a row of columns. And the temple was decorated with a painted plaster and mosaics.
Does that mean lemonade is a row of lemons?
The temple was found to contain a hoard of coins, which dates the temple to the late 4th century AD. So it would have been quite a little bit after the Romans would have been there.
How many years after the Romans had been there?
So I can go back now. So we was having a little bit of a disagreement whether the Romans invaded Dorchester, or I was saying that they peacefully would have sort of started trading with us, and we was both a little bit right. So the Romans built Durnovaria in around 60 AD. So if we think the Romans came to Durnovaria in 60 AD, so that would have been 340 years before that temple was built. So it's a relative. Have I got that right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when they would have started building.
Yeah. So there was decades of relative harmony between Britain and the Roman Empire following Caesar leaving Britain in 54 BC, which is about 100 years before they built Durnovaria. There was a number of new client kingdoms set in place, and these states were ruled by local tribes that had aligned with Rome, and under this system, military occupation by Roman legions wasn't required. So about 100 years before Dorchester was there, the Romans just basically propped up all these tribes, and then they just traded with them peacefully. And so that was what I was thinking about. But by the time Durnovaria was being built, the political landscape of Britain had become significantly more volatile, led by, how'd you say that?
Caractacus.
The I can't read these words. Come on, David.
Catavilorni
tribe had overthrown the
Trinovantes
as rulers of southern England, the most powerful kingdom, simultaneously banishing any Roman sympathetic tribes into exile. So you guys were right. By the time Durnovaria was being built, there was lots more violence going on because they started re-invading again. So
started filling in the gaps.
Yeah,
taking it back. Make Britain great again.
But again,
Caractacus is in my book. Yes,
is he?
I've got the book. This is the geekiest book I've ever bought. I found it in a second-hand shop at the Y festival, and it's called "Who's Who in Roman Britain and Anglo-Saxon England." And I'd like to read it to you, but I can't because it's too dark in here and I don't have my glasses.
Oh, okay.
But but it's very interesting, I imagine.
Yeah, if you was that way inclined. But again, it's one of these
just
things.
Prove I've got a book.
Yeah, he's just sort of showing off his books there. But it's all, I've always found it really interesting, like how like the Roman period is just basically like hundreds and hundreds of years, isn't it? Like you just think, for me, I can't sort of fathom how long things in the past when they talk about like this period of time. You know, it's such a long, you know, so our modern era. Pardon me, our modern era is relatively sort of short, isn't it, compared to like all the stuff that happened in the past? I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, you're right. It was there for a long time.
Family Guy, that section.
Yeah.
But the Romans were doing more things for them in other parts of the world as well. England, Britain was like the extremities of their sort of rule and hold of mainland Europe and other places, Northern Africa. Like they got in like, there's nothing much going on here, just a couple of, it's wet bits of trees and not much gold.
Yeah.
Let's
lots of fist-sized bits of stone, but not much else of interest.
So they didn't really stick around for much too long, and there was so much internal fighting. They didn't deploy all these legions to hang around in Britain, because it wasn't. I can imagine it wasn't really seen as a great big earner for him or necessity.
Well, Caesar had to go back and take over Rome, hadn't he? By that point, it was. I think he went to. I probably got this wrong, but I think he went to Britain after he did the fighting the Gauls, took over Gaul. I think it was because there was people from Britain were helping the Gauls at that point. Stayed there for a bit, didn't really achieve much, and then fucked off back to Europe, and then crossed the Tiber and end up becoming a emperor. So yeah, he had more other fish to fry.
Bigger. Not the 1 pound trout from the South Winterbourne.
So, is there anything spooky? There's meant to be ghosts up here, isn't there? There's meant to be
They don't come out in daytime, do they?
No, we was talking about that.
Not when it's windy.
No.
Blown away. Probably all hiding in Dorchester prison.
Well, Roman ghosts are seen up here.
You'd hear them, I'd say, just before you saw them a Roman ghost, wouldn't you? Chinking with all their armour and loosely buckled flip-flops.
They'd wear Crocs these days.
Yeah.
You hear them squeaking in this under the wet grass.
I keep getting sent, the internet keeps trying to target me with adverts for little lights I can put on Crocs.
Yeah.
So why do you think this is something I need in my life?
You can't block the holes up. That's how your dignity escapes.
Headlamps for Crocs.
That's good.
Just think about like all the jumps forwards in civilization that happened over the period the Romans were here, and now we are just.
I know.
We've
got luggage with wheels on.
Yeah, and shoes with lights on.
And yellow gloves.
Yeah, what's something wrong with my yellow gloves?
Look like a Smurf.
Oh, I'm desperate for a wee.
Go down there.
Yeah. But we know as soon as I whip it out, people will turn up.
Have you
They find it irresistible. Is it like the Bisto advert?
Yeah.
Maxwell House.
Just don't get it out near the sheep, please. Yeah. That wouldn't be good to be seen.
People will start putting 2 and 2 together and get fibre, especially with your wellies on.
Right, is that the end of the field report, do you think? Has anyone got anything to add?
I think we should take some video.
Okay. In the
which
wind.
Is Latin for I see.
Video.
Video.
Is D part of a Roman numeral?
Oh, no, we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? About counting, weren't we, David? About people counting on their hands.
Yes.
This is quite a good one.
Oh.
Because the road...
Where did I learn that? I was listening to a podcast about calculators.
Right.
Had people done some research on this podcast?
Yeah,
or were they just
it was a
waxing
proper, no, it's a proper podcast. They had it was produced and everything. It was like they had runners and researchers, but it was about calculators, and I fell asleep halfway through. And it was ages ago. So any facts I do know, I'm going to be very vague about.
But you can write boobies on the calculator.
You can boobless.
Yeah.
Yes. So most civilizations use a 10-based counting system because we have 10 digits on our fingers. But there was a community, I think in South America, that used a 13-based counting system because they would count their penis and their testicles when they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it must have been a community where only the men counted.
But they wouldn't call it 12, 13 because that's still based on a 10 base. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nut bollock.
Willy. Nut bollock Willy.
And there are ways of counting. There are ways of counting where you can count. So if you were to hold a finger out and count 1, then 2, then 3, etc., to help you visualise 10. There are ways of doing it where you can like half a finger and half, and you can count up to some like strange, like 300 apparently, with different variations of knuckles.
I reckon I could count to 300 without my fingers.
You're so clever. You're such a show-off. Go on then.
I do it at home.
You can't.
I do it at home.
You're bluffing. Go on. 300 now.
I do it after the end credits as like a special extra for patrons. So, thank you very much. Good to speak to you. Thank you, Henry, for joining us on this one.
Oh, thanks for having me, friend.
No worries, friend.
Ludo is friend.
So bad.
Sarah.
Should you need us. Right. Okay. Well, until next time, I've been Ross in Dorchester.
I'm still David in Wareham.
I'm still Henry in West Stafford.
West of the Ford.
Oh yeah, West Stafford.
Okay. Happy day. Bye-bye, everyone.
See you
Bye,
next
Ross.
time. Cheery
See you,
bye.
David.
It's not natural.
If you knows of any weirdness you'd like to share with David and Ross, you can tell them by email at darkdorset@gmail.com or talk to them on Twitter at darkdorset. Well, until next time, stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay discombobulated. Stay
And then, yeah, so I pulled over and I used the last 5% of my phone battery to use the torch to have a look at the wheels. And one was quite flat. I thought it had air in it, and I thought, fuck, it's like 10 o'clock, it's freezing cold. I thought I could get to a garage in Dorchester, put some air in it.
Yeah.
But by the time I got there, it was shredded.
He was flat
Luckily,
on
there
the
was
beach the other day. We both looked at it and went, that tyre looks flat to me.
Yeah, and I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably my fault. But there was an AA man at the garage. So I said, this air pump doesn't seem to be working. He said, that's because you've got a hole in the other. So he said, do you remember with the AA? I said, no, RAC, much better colours. So he made me sign up to £9 a month and waived lots of additional fees. And then he put my spare on for me.
Oh.
And it was totally blown on the back side of the tyre.
Ooh,
So,
ouchie.
But
So why were you going to call us?
To come out and help me put the spare on.
Fuck, I wouldn't know how to do that. I'd charge you more than £9 a month to do
Well,
that.
you could have.
You could have brought your riser deck and filmed it.
Yeah.
The recording of the voice.
You could have held the van up like Superman while Henry slithered underneath to get the spare.
Like a naked child Superman. Oh, I am another advantage of having a standing desk.
Naked children.
I'm now straddling an electric radiator, and like,
Oh, like one of those wooden frogs.
what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Are we recording this clip?
Are you trousers on or trouser off?
Well, whenever I'm on webcam, it's trousers off straight away.
Didn't Richard Whiteley used to do that when they used to record Countdown? It used to be shirt, tie, blazer, and then Bermuda shorts and sliders.
Twice nightly. We've practiced this intro every single time, and I just...
So the intro would be, I'm Ross in Dorchester.
I'm Ross in Dorchester.
And he'll be David in Wareham, and you can say you're Henry and wherever you are, Henry. Well, I don't know where you are.
We'll never get this right. We'll never get this right first time. This is
wherever
really
you
complicated. Whoever you are.
And what I'm going to do... Ow! Stop! I've only got shorts on, so it touched a bit of bare skin.
Oh,
right.
Okay. I can smell it. God, it's
Singed.
like bacon's burning on the grill. I'm not going in there.
Oh,
Oh,
that's the first time I've seen a sharp edge on you, Henry. What's going on?
yeah.
So there's something about Tudor Arcade that does not do well for me as a customer.
Ooh.
I don't mind cracking open the wallet, but it's firmly shut down that area of town. I was in there, right? It was lockdown time, and I was queuing up. I thought, well, I'll get a nice chunk of cheese. I was with George. Favourite thing to do with George is we get a chunk of cheese, crackers, and we sit down and we binge on Wallace and Gromit eating cheese and crackers.
Oh, nice.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, George, let's get some cheese. We'll go to the fridge. Let's go and let's support the independent purveyor of all things dairy.
Mm-hmm.
So we queued up, one in, one out.
I remember those days.
5 minutes, and there he was in there, serving everybody their cheese, and everybody walking around gleefully and,
Cheesed
cheese
up.
right up. Yeah. And And then he walked up and he flipped the sign and said, "We're closed." I said, "What?" I said, "We're closed." I said, "You just let that bloke in and he's just bought some bread. I just want some cheese." I said, "We're closed. If you had a day like me, mate, you'd want to go home as well." Well, it sounds like you've had a good day if you were busy, proprietor of a shop.
Yeah.
In lockdown.
Yeah. And he said, "No, I'm not going to serve you." I was like, "All right, fair enough." I could have come in. I felt like with now. I'm a multi-millionaire. I'm going to buy this whole cheese board off of you. I'm going to buy the cows that produce the milk.
We want them here. We want them now.
But denied access. So I said, "Right, George, never going there again." So we stomped off down to Waitrose, and I got denied for wearing a bandana as a face mask and not in there. So I said, "I'm never coming in here again."
God.
So basically, you walked around town looking like a Wild West gangster and weren't allowed in anywhere.
Pretty much.
And it's their problem.
Shaking, just desperate for cheese. So that's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. But hey, never. And I couldn't even do it. Even we passed the cheese shop in Bridport the other day, but it's the same geezer, isn't it? Down there.
Well, I feel bad for buying my lunch there today.
Well, I'm sure he's very nice to you. He probably doesn't have anything against you. You're right in his demographic, especially if you turn up with those yellow gloves.
Yeah. Remember marigolds?
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, he's brought his own butter.
Butterfingers.